welcome to another episode of Bible Stories with Isabella Jane
and Rosie. So Della, we've been doing a lot of stories in the Old Testament.
Yes, we have.
And those stories are old.
Yes, it's in the Old Testament.
I want to do a new story.
Well, that's actually what I had planned for today. I thought we could do a story from the New Testament in the book of Luke.
Okay, well, what's it about? Is it about Luke?
No, it's not about Luke. It's an account from Luke.
Then why is it called Luke? We've had other stories like Jonah was about Jonah.
True, but this story is about a man called Zacchaeus, and he was thought to be a very bad man because he was a sinner.
Oh, doesn't that make all of us bad because all of us are sinners?
That's exactly right, Rosie. You see, this man was a tax collector. So taxes are good. You know, they help pay for our roads, our educations, our economy.
Yes, and nice big houses.
No. It helps pay for good things. But Rosie, you are right. Sometimes it is taken advantage of, and people do take the money for themselves. Now, people thought that Zacchaeus was doing this because he had a very, very big home. He was a rich and wealthy man, and he was a tax collector.
So did he steal?
Well, we'll see in just a bit. So, Rosie, this is during the time when Jesus was going around and he was telling parables and performing miracles, and he was making quite a name for himself.
Oh, he was like a famous person.
He was a famous person. You see, every town that he went into, you can imagine a famous person coming here. Okay, everyone would know, everyone would gather around, everyone would be so excited.
Well, not now, we can't gather around because of the coronavirus.
Yes, but imagine there's no coronavirus and there is a famous person. This is what it was like for Jesus. He would be surrounded by so many people wanting to see him perform miracles and hear what he had to say. Now one day, Rosie, he came to the place where Zacchaeus lived.
And did Zacchaeus want to meet Jesus?
Well, think of it this way. You're quite short, aren't you?
You're short.
I'm not saying it as an insult. This is a purpose.
Yes, I am a little bit short, but you can make me taller if you just raise your arm.
True, but now, Rosie, you're in a crowd and you're watching. If you're short and you're a little child, imagine being surrounded by such tall people you can't see who's in front of you and what's going on.
No, you can't.
Well, Zacchaeus wasn't a very tall man.
Uh-huh.
And he was trying to see Jesus, and he actually ended up climbing a tree to try and see Jesus.
That's quite funny, because he's important, isn't he?
Yeah, Rosie, he worked for the government. Now imagine a government official climbing up a tree like a child to try and see this man Jesus.
Oh, that is quite funny.
But that's how desperate he was to see Jesus.
So there he is, up in a tree, trying to see Jesus. That's hilarious.
Well, it is a little bit funny because he's this very, very important, wealthy man trying to see Jesus. And you know what Jesus did?
What did he do?
He said, Zacchaeus, come down now, and I must go to your house today.
How did Jesus know his name?
Well, Rosie, this story shows us that Jesus knows all of us by name. He knows exactly who we are, what we do, everything we think and we feel.
Wow, and why did he want to go stay with him?
Well, he knew that this was exactly the person he needed to stay with that day. So he obeyed God and he went to go stay with Zacchaeus. And while he was walking, people were saying he's going to go stay with a sinner. I mean, this man is a thief. And Rosie, do you know what Zacchaeus did?
Oh, I would have gotten angry with all of those people and I would have just walked away.
He had a change of heart because he knew who Jesus was, and he said, I'm going to pay back half of my money to the poor people, and everything I've stolen, I will pay back 4 times as much.
So he was now going to give to the poor, and from being so rich, he was willing to give up his money?
Yeah, Rosie, because he knew that Jesus was here to save, and he knew that Jesus and his salvation is far more important than having the big house and having all the money and stealing. So he admitted his sins, and you know what Jesus did?
No.
Jesus forgave him, and he said, I'm here to find the lost, and I know you by name. So imagine this famous person, Rosie, coming and saying, hey Rosie, I'm going to stay with you today.
That would, oh my goodness, imagine Nick Jonas coming and saying that he knows 9 names.
Yeah, it's just like Nick Jonas, but even bigger and even better. The God of the whole universe knowing you by name and coming to save you.
Coming to save the lost. This must have made Zacchaeus very, very happy.
Exactly, and I think that's the point of our story today, is we can find happiness and joy in the one who knows our name and has come to save you
and me.